Trashy magazines and pretty trashy people. I just hoped I could keep them out of the crime section. The great thing about being famous as well as rich is the bad guys know who to kidnap. Dragging Bronco along would slow them down, but not much. Poor bastard's name was Claudio. I found out later he was a pretty big shot soccer player for the Galatians. Some nearly superstar just back from Europe. The usual. Scored goals, scored girls. The only box he'd be getting into now was the one he'd be leaving in. It was your typical trendy hellhole. A playground for the overpreened and undernourished. Sushi and house music and vodka. A place you don't get through the door unless you're rich, beautiful, or, in this instance, it seemed, a heavily armed psychopath. Time was a luxury I couldn't afford.
Don't shoot, por favor.
You an American?
Sure. Yeah, I'm from Steele, North Dakota, just outside of Bismarck. Anders Detling. This is some place, huh? They told me it was a little fresh, but I wasn't expecting things to be quite like this.
No?
No, see, I've seen things. I was a cop for 25 years. I've seen men run over by combines. I've seen husbands who just ate their wives, but a gunfight at a disco.
You were a cop?
Yeah, just retired. Oh, what a life that was. And it gave me the money to raise a family. Oh, I got a girl at college at Wisconsin and a boy who's playing football for Minnesota State. You want to see their picture?
No, that's all right. Sounds nice. Listen, you're staying here. Don't be a hero.
Oh, I won't. I'm retired.
Happy, healthy ex-cop? Give me a break. It looked loud and expensive enough to be Fabiana's. Her fashion sense didn't leave a whole lot of room for imagination, let alone food. The girl sure knew how to draw the eye, and maybe that was the problem. But at least I was heading in the right direction.
Chega! Que porra você tá fazendo? Como assim? Você tá com algum problema?
Whatever the hell they were arguing about, it was time for me to add my 2 cents.
Estamos aqui por causa das meninas.
Victor's political campaign was starting to come unstuck. Seemed the Broncos' luck was on the turn. If only that was the worst news they'd received that day. It was Giovanna's necklace. Now I just had to find the rest of her. Another delay I didn't need. This wasn't looking good. I'd almost lost the boss's wife once this week. Now I was giving them two for the price of one. A little consolation prize for having my assault on the free bar cut short. Much as I like to indulge in self-reflection, this wasn't the time. Our $3 million man had locked the doors behind him.
Let's see if this thing works.
If it was good enough for a professional athlete, it was good enough for me. Luckily for us, the blood money was still bleeding.
Right back.
Claudio, their golden boy. He'd sure picked the wrong party on the wrong night. Although if the past week was anything to go by, it was safe to assume any party with the Broncos in attendance was the wrong one to be at.
Come on, Mac!
Mr. Victor Bronco. For all his friends in high places, he had just as many enemies.
How much blood did you lose? Snap out of it, bro.
I'd gotten into my share of bar fights. This old guy, my days of playing dress-up were over. I wasn't some gallant knight. I didn't need a shield. The apartment made me wish I'd got to know him better. It made for interesting reading. If I'd been given a few more years looking into the bottom of a glass, I might have been on the same page. Looked like he was keeping an eye on me. Must have thought we were kindred spirits. More and more, I think he was right. The place should have been knocked down years before, but my lease turned out to be the order of demolition. Up and out. Scramble away from what's left of your life over dead bodies and a few loose roof tiles. If I'd thought things through, I may have sat down and let myself burn right there. Looked like Passos had brought us to the right place. That was the chopper the Commando Sombra used to escape the nightclub attack. If Fabiana wasn't around here, then at least someone that knew where she was had to be. They'd been making a reality show starring Sao Paulo's favorite housewife. Probably thought it would grease the wheels with the ransom money, but it only made me want to shove the cash down their throats. She was on the move. If they'd finally decided to kill her, I wasn't doing anything to persuade them otherwise.
A dor. Com a idade vem a dor. É dor de cabeça, dor de...
Here we go again. It seemed Serrano's boys had targeted the entire Bronco family and didn't give a shit which one they pinched. Serrano was reading his reviews. Vain chump. The newspaper was plastered with the news of the first kidnapping attempt. These were the floor plans to the nightclub. Seemed Mr. Serrano liked to be prepared. Proper little Boy Scout. That was the office Victor used at Fabricas Bronco.
Can we go, please?
They'd been keeping an eye on Fabiana from afar. Shame they'd been more interested in supposed infidelities than thugs sizing her up for a snatch. Victor's office had second son written all over it. Half the size of Rodrigo's and a tenth as fancy. Marcelo's must have been a box in the basement.
This is the way.
One of the perks of working for Fabricas Bronco.
Come on, Rodrigo tá esperando.
I didn't have time to thumb through the old phrase book Portuguese, but it looked like Victor was asking for campaign contributions. Rodrigo held the family purse strings, and by the looks of it, he held them pretty tight.
Max!
It was a lot shinier than a favela, and rent'd be easier to collect. Maybe Bronco would take pity on all the poor bastards who got evicted. I just had to keep him alive to find out. Graduation shots of Rodrigo, Victor, and Marcelo, educated at rich kid finishing schools all over Europe. No wonder they had the common touch. looked like we had seen the worst of it. The elevator would take me back up to Rodrigo's office where we could wait the rest of it out. I was in no state to save his body from the flames. I hadn't saved him from the gunman either. I'm sorry, kid. Figured sobriety was no use to me dead.
Passa baseado. E na tua vez não, passa aí, meu.
Aí, tem visto a irmã do Wilson, mano? Ah, ela não tá mais garotinha não, hein?
De jeito nenhum. O que esse cara quer?
Aí, bela camisa, hein? Tu perdeu o tesão, meu.
Hey, are you lost?
In more ways than I could possibly explain.
I know you. At the disco, with the gun. Yeah, you had hair back then and better clothes. Anders Dudling from Steele, North Dakota. Why on earth are you here?
Well, I'm, looking for someone. What are you doing here?
Oh, we came to help the cause. See, after I retired, my wife, she said I had to do something. And, well, you know, I always loved kids, so I got involved in Angels of the Hill. Oh, it's a great cause, and they're really great folk, and, well, now we come down twice a year to help inoculate the children of the favelas. Yeah, oh, simply wonderful, giving back. Whole family does it. In fact, my little girl's coming in a couple of days.
Aren't you afraid?
I was a cop for 25 years, and granted, Steele ain't San Paulo, but, you know, I seen things, and people are the same everywhere, good, bad, and different.
Listen, have you heard anything about a woman about 28, rich? She was kidnapped. I heard she was being held around here.
No?
All right, well, good luck.
All right, you too. You look like you need it. I gotta get back at it. Hey, I'll say a prayer for you.
Another life lesson I didn't want.
Aí, João, eu não vou falar de novo. Cala a porra da tua boca.
Caralho! Por favor, me deixe embora! Eu tenho um filho pra criar! O que tá acontecendo aqui, caralho?
Onde você tá?
Por favor, por favor! Dinheiro que você quer? Não me mata! Eu faço o que você quiser, por favor, não me mata!
The show was over. It was time to get out of there. I couldn't turn my back on them for a second.
Não, por favor! Por favor, me deixe embora! Eu tenho um filho pra criar!
Aí, João, eu não vou falar errado. Cala a porra da tua boca. É só uma coisa.
Aconteceu aqui, caralho! Não, por favor!
Me dê cobertura! Nós temos um saída! Sai daí! Filho da puta do caralho!
Por favor, me deixe embora!
Eu tenho um filho pra criar! Mete comigo!
Por favor, amigo. No, no.
Relax, soldier. You're American? Oh, jeez, buddy. Am I glad to see you? Oh, fuck me. I've been coming to this shithole town for the last 5 years. It's like a fucking insane asylum. But it's got the cheapest pussy in the world. Fuck me. I mean,
you're in a cat house in the slum, pal, doing who knows what.
I'm a businessman, bro. And they were fully legal in this country. I think. And I know how to tip, all right? It ain't my fault, man. It ain't my fault. Don't judge me, all right?
Have a nice day. Jesus, what a fucking creep. That comforting smell of secondhand beer and exploitation. Serrano, the man of the hour. Had De Silva left this there on purpose as some passive-aggressive message to the CS from a cop who was apparently too scared to go near any real criminals? It was a strange power play. Yet more thugs whose Christmas card list I wouldn't be on. This wasn't Commando Sombra real estate. I had to keep moving. Say what you want about these hoods. They knew more about branding than a Madison Avenue art director. Tropa Z. Looked like Nova Esperanza had a civil war to add to its long list of reasons not to visit.
Não tem como escapar da justiça. Para que os nossos vivam, você tem que morrer.
Soccer had gotten Claudio away from the favela, but it hadn't gotten him far enough. I couldn't imagine his death had done much to boost the CS's approval ratings in that part of town.
Você não é de nada!
They were still out there, waiting to put a bullet in me. Giovanna, charity worker and socialite. Work with the poor and play with the rich. You try to live in two worlds. Eventually you're gonna get your life ripped apart. Passos had told me about this stuff. Oxidado. They called it rust. Packed full of healthy ingredients like quicklime and kerosene. Cheaper, stronger, and deadlier than crack. Easily marketed to the poor and desperate. All in all, a fine, honorable way to earn a living. I was definitely in Commando Sombra territory. If Fabiana was still alive, she couldn't be far away.
Vamos, rapaz!
myself it was a tragic misunderstanding, an awful mistake. I tell myself a lot of things, all of it crap. The truth was, it was her or Mona. I made a very bad call. This was one decision of mine I buried deeper than all the others. He'd been in more binds than a Chinese concubine's foot.
ain't the one who got us in this situation.
Cops didn't seem too concerned with meeting their arrest quotas. Between me and Sao Paulo's finest, it'd be a miracle if the CS were still in business by the end of the day. "55. I'd seen that number before. Were these the same bloodthirsty motherfuckers that showed up after the shootout at the party? One way I dealt with guilt.
Olá, sou o Dr. Arthur Fischer. Sou especializado no aumento de nádegas, seios, abdominoplastia e aumento peniano. Faça-me uma visita. Dr. Arthur Fischer, cirurgião plástico.
Você tá me tirando, pô? Alguma coisa, seu filho da puta! O seu chefe, seu filho da...
Man, I was guessing these guys didn't spend their spare time studying the Geneva Convention. One thing at a time, Max. Short of riding in on a parade float, we couldn't have made our arrival more obvious. We had to hide someplace out of the open. An army of paramilitaries and only my face made the front page. More publicity I didn't need. She was Victor's political nemesis and, in all probability, Sao Paulo's next mayor. Even the Broncos couldn't afford that many votes.
Don't leave me here!
This was where Marcelo was supposed to be sleeping. He'd barely come down to this deck. Passos had the name of the bar where I was drinking my life away. I should have put things together then, instead of waiting for De Silva to walk me through it real slow. The bed was made. I could only guess that Passos was upstairs in the thick of it, whatever it was. While I'd been dead to the world, some of my shipmates were just plain dead. Where had they taken them? Booze, coke, pills. Whatever they were looking for appeared to be gone. After I got out of New Jersey, things had flared up again between the Punchinellos and the DeMarcos. Didn't look like things would die down anytime soon. I was gonna have to stay away from the only place I'd ever known. Daphne Bernstein, a recent divorcee, making the most of her considerable settlement, and Marcelo was making the most of her. I don't want to think about it. Daphne's ship was always stocked.
Puta, aquí no hay nada.
There was something firing these guys other than good old-fashioned socialist zeal. What were they looking for? It didn't make sense. Why would they leave the jewels and rip open the walls? It didn't occur to me just what the other cargo on board could be. And the band played on. Maybe there was something on the bridge. I checked every other inch of the boat. What I expected to find. On a boat full of drunks and bullshit artists, I'd been the cabaret act. Shooting whatever came in front of me was easier than coming to terms with that reality. survivors was a bad idea. I blocked out all my questions. All I thought about was getting to Daphne Bernstein before it was too late. Americans had a long and checkered history of involvement in Panama. This was my sorry chapter, for what it's worth. Either those guys wheeled their trash out on stretchers, or something was seriously wrong here. Where those bastards were going, they wouldn't need medication. Oofay. Was there anything they didn't have a grubby hand in? A few days earlier, I'd have called it a coincidence, but I'd written off too many of those already. Passos' ID card. It was no great surprise he'd made their hit list, but to discover he was really Colombian? No wonder some locals seemed to laugh at his accent. What else had he lied to me about? De Silva and I had the same fan club. I knew enough, and he knew too much. We'd both become targets. This was hell on earth. De Silva was no fool. I'd have driven on off into the sunset too if I were him. But I was in too far now. It looked like Victor had won the sympathy vote, found his universal connection to the people, triumph out of tragedy. Part of me couldn't help thinking that had been his plan all along. That building was condemned in more ways than one. those bastards were going, they wouldn't need medication. Either Victor Bronco and Nevis were doing a lot of charity work together, or this was payment for something else. Were the Crash of Prado in Victor's pocket? Had he tipped them off about the stadium exchange? I had to hurry up before more of those assholes showed up. Time to see what VIP treatment awaited me on the penthouse floor. Any time I bought had been going real cheap. If I was gonna plant the rest of those explosives, I had to do it now.
You ain't gonna help me.
Hey, yeah, you
Fucking luck.
Look who it is, Mr. Strip Club scumbag.
You.
Yeah,
I am mighty. You ain't gonna help me.
you get what you deserve, pal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
They were legal.
Mm-hmm. It was Monday's arrest log, as far as I could tell, and no sign of anybody from Nova Esperanza. All those poor bastards have been checked straight into the Imperial Palace Hotel. Another dark, rainy night. Another police station. Another futile crusade for a man. Figured I'd bag those up for evidence. Becker's blood money from the good doctor. Serrano had canceled one side of that transaction. The other was on me. I figured I should check out the security monitors while I had the chance. Sao Paulo's own David and Goliath. I'd pinned De Silva as a coward, but he'd risked more than anyone, and he'd never taken a bribe. AUP. Those were the guys who jumped the yacht in Panama. And what was this? Had the Brazilian cops tipped them off about the money? I'd spent my career dozing off in the briefing room. Now wasn't the time. The CS were all but out of business in Sao Paulo, and suddenly Becker and Victor looked like local heroes in the war on crime. They'd really gotten their money's worth outsourcing their problems onto me. My old pal Serrano. We'd both been unwitting clowns in this sorry circus. Part of me hoped he'd made it out of that hotel alive. I didn't recognize the guy. Maybe this was the new slum king De Silva had talked about. A throne never stays empty for long. Fame at last. It was no great surprise I'd made Ufe's most wanted list. I hadn't done much to improve the reputation of Americans abroad over the past few weeks, and there they were, my illustrious employers, 3 dead and still every chance I'd go 4 for 4. None of this was gonna look good on the resume. And I was in good company. Howell Passos, sent up north to find a washed-up gringo who'd act tough and play dumb. Boy, did he ever deliver. It was a little late to be thinking about precautions, but something told me this shit show was barely through the warm-up act. I could deal with my remaining substance abuse issues when this was all over.
Well, chaos and guns. I might have known you'd turn up.
Sorry. You heading home?
Oh, I am here to pick up my daughter, but I imagine she's stuck on the plane. What are you up to?
I don't know. Trying to make a difference. Giving back.
Yeah, well, that's what you call it.
Take care.
Yeah.
Judgment with a smile. You can't beat it. Nothing was happening back here. I had to get to where the action was. Maybe they were in the next terminal. I'd keep looking until Victor sent me a postcard from Miami.